What's up everybody, Joe from Mojo Break Gaming here. Today I have an exciting build. This is the Blue Flare deck profile for BT10. Honestly, this is one of the strongest decks I've played in a while. It is definitely going to be a problem for a lot of matchups. It's crazy on searching, it's crazy on combos. Synergy is really good. What's great about Blue Flare as well is that it doesn't feel like it's a full built-on deck. There's still a lot of cards where you can kind of experiment and play with and get a lot of other cards that you would want in the deck, which is really cool. So we're going to cover the essential cards that you need. We're going to show you what those essential cards do. So if this is your first time seeing Blue Flare and want to get an understanding of how the deck plays, this is a good video to watch. For our first Blue Flare deck profile, we're going to go ahead and talk about the eggs. Currently, I'm going to be running 4 Upamons for the reason that get that extra draw when you attack. A lot of times people will be playing level 3s that either a memory block or play cost block. So Upamon is a really good way to get an extra draw. For our first level 3s we're going to be talking about, we're going to be covering the 4 Gaussmons. Gaussmon is an on deletion. You can play one level 4 Digimon with Blue Flare and its traits from your hand suspended without paying its play cost. But sometimes that's good anyways because your level 4s have a save mechanic. The save mechanic will basically tuck under one of your Tamers. We'll talk about what that means later. When this dies, it plays a level 4. That level 4 gets an on-play move, and that move gets to activate and help you with your search ability, get your combos going. So whether this is on your turn and you swing at security and die, or if somebody attacks you, you have that to look forward to on Gaussmon. So it's a good on-deletion card. Running a 4 of is essential for the Blue Flare. Next up, we're going to run 4 Madoki Betamons. Reason why we run 4 is because there's a lot of room in this deck, and there's a lot of decks that still are able to benefit by gaining memory. Can't block Tamers for gaining memory, but that's okay. Madokis are just problems for people to deal with, so if you need them to try to take care of a Madoki to keep your other Digimon alive, he's a good kind of like a decoy kind of card. We run a 2 of the Gabumon here. It's just a simple on-play draw. Sometimes we need to get this to get some more draws in case we're missing a couple pieces for the Blue Flare combo. The next 2 are going to be actually the Gomamon. On deletion, gain 1 memory. So you want this in your inherent stack here. What's cool about this one, it's actually a 3K. 3K is able to delete a lot of level 3s in this game. For example, Madoki Betamons are 2. Gabumons are 1. There's a lot of 2K and 1K DP level 3s, so having that 3K feels nice too. And then our last level 3, we're going to run 1 Gizamon in case we need it. Some matchups you're going to need a little bit of a damage buff. Your turn, you get 2,000 extra damage. Your opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution cards. That's what's really good about it, so you can get your guy up to a stronger DP. So that's going to be our level 3 lineup. Now moving on to the 4s. These are essential. These are the Greymons. These are the new BT10 Greymons. Greymon appears to show in every single set that comes out. He is the Blue Flare. What's cool about him, he has on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 2 cards with Blue Flare in their traits among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then if you have Akira in play, you may return 1 Metal Greymon from your trash to your hand instead. So if you reveal the top 4 cards and you don't really like what you see there, if you have that Kira Tamer, go ahead and grab the Metal Greymon as an alternative, which is really good to help combo that Digicross move when you need to. He has a good inherent effect. If this Digimon has Blue Flare in the traits and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, this Digimon will be able to unsuspend. So you swing, unsuspend with this inherent effect, you just pop off. You need a 4 of because Metal Greymon has a Digicross requirement of 1 being Greymon, which is why we're running the 4 of, and it combos really nicely with the Blue Flare. The next 4 of we have to run is the Male Bergermon. This is the second necessary piece that Metal Greymon will need to Digicross. So he'll need 1 Greymon and 1 Male Bergermon to Digicross and make him a potential 3 play cost on your turn. So Male Bergermon has a good effect here. It says on play. If you have Akira in play, you may return 1 Metal Greymon from your trash to your hand. If you don't have Akira, you may play 1 without paying its play cost. So this one helps you play this Digimon down and get a Tamer on board. It's just for a 5 cost. It's just a really good combo piece in case you need to go that route. It has probably a better inherent effect than the Greymon here, arguably, but it's really good otherwise. If this Digimon has Blue Flare in its traits and your opponent has 2 Digimon or more in play, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn. So when you swing with Metal Greymon, you can stun one of your opponent's Digimon if they have more than two or more Digimon on their side of the field. So the dangerous number when you play against Blue Flare is 2. If you have 2 or more Digimon, you've got to watch out because these combos will then activate. So male Birdramon is put at 4 because we need it for the Digicross. It's the only male Birdramon in the Digimon card game, so just keep that in mind. But we also have another important level 4. That one is Decardramon. We have to play a level, we're playing a playset of 4 Decardramons. This one's really, really good because he serves as another Digicross card for another Digimon, which we'll talk about later. He has an on-play effect of draw 1 and then draw 1 for each of your opponent's Digimon that's in play. So if they're spreading board and they got 5 Digimon, you can play this one down, draw 1 for this, and then draw another 5 if your opponent has 5, which is really, really, really good for searching another. It's like Drabumon, but with a little bit of a buff. He has an on deletion save. I gotta remind everybody that all these level 4s that I've mentioned so far have this effect on deletion save. So when this Digimon dies, it gets to tuck underneath one of your Tamers. You can choose if you want to do that. It doesn't make sense to put it in under any other Tamer other than Kira in this deck profile because the other Tamers won't be able to benefit from this being underneath. He also has a nice inherent effect on all turns. While your opponent has 2 or more Digimon, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. So you can basically buff up your Digimon a little bit more. Another level 4 here. 2 more actually. That's going to be the Greymon Security Plus 1 Digimon. This Digimon will work as a Digicross card. So when you need to Digicross with Metal Greymon and you just have this card in hand and a male Birdramon, you'll be able to get that Digicross effect, which is pretty cool. This one gives you Sec plus 1. It's a standard, it's a card that's been used throughout Digimon card game. It's still really, really good for Sec plus 1. And sometimes if you notice that your Digimon or your opponent is playing around you with just having one Digimon on their side of the field, you won't be able to unsuspend with that other Greymon. So maybe choosing this one to get 2 checks is probably the better move when you Digicross with Metal Greymon. So running a 2 of feels good. You don't want too much of these because it kind of feels bricky. You're already running enough level 4s as it is. So just splashing a bit of 2 Metal Greymon Sec plus 1s feels really, really good. And then one more level 4. I know there's a lot of level 4s, but we need one more. It is the Lobo for game. There's still a lot of room in this deck, which is why you're able to play these kinds of ratios. So one Lobo for game in case you need to do that. Pretty simple, straightforward. And those are finally, those are all of our level 4s. Now we're moving on to the boss monsters. These are the level 5s in this deck. Here we go. First level 5 is going to be the bread and butter card, the go-to. It is the Metal Greymon. It is level 5. It has 8k DP, 7 play cost, and 4 Evo. What this does is on play, gains Rush. Then if you're Digicrossing, 3 of your opponent's Digimon with Digivolution cards less than or equal to this Digimon's Digivolution cards can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn. It has a Digicross effect of -2 for every Digimon you use to Digicross. So if you have a Greymon and a male Birdramon, that'll be able to -4 because it's 2 of each Digimon, making his play cost a 3 instead of 7, which is what your go-to plan is always going to try to be. You want to be able to play him for 3 and keep your turn alive, being able to use Rush, being able to activate those inherent effects like I mentioned, unsuspending on swing, stunning your opponent. It's got 8k DP, so it can survive a lot of things. With the damage buffs that you can potentially give it, makes it even stronger from dying. So you just want to go aggro with your Metal Greymon. If it does end up dying in a security check, you have material save too. 2 of those Digimon cards will Digivolution cards will be able to go underneath one of your Tamers, which is really, really good. So there goes Metal Greymon right there. Next up, we're going to run an essential 4 Decker Greymons. He is your second boss monster. He is a bit stronger, sitting at 10k DP. He evos 2 off of a level 5. So after you're comboing with the Metal Greymon, sometimes it's good to evo off of the on top into the Decker Greymon. What's good about that is he has an on play or a when digivolving effect. So it applies either when digivolving or if you're playing this Digimon down. He digivolves 2 off of the Metal Greymon, like I said. And he also has Armor Purge, which is really, really nice. Armor Purge is essential to keep your Digimon more alive in case they want to swing over you. Let this guy take the hit and you're back to Metal Greymon, so they have to deal with you yet again. So this is good. The effect reads, on play or when digivolving, you may place one Digimon card with blue flare in its traits from your hand or from under your one of your tamers under this Digimon as a bottom Digivolution card. Then, if Decadramon is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block until the end of their turn. So it's able to Digivolve or on play your Digicrossing two cards here, Metal Greymon and Decadramon. So you can play this for a cost of 5 instead of 9. And when you're able to have a Decadramon, you're gonna be able to stun one of your opponent's Digimon, no matter how many sources they have underneath, contrary to what Metal Greymon does. So those are our level 5s. Now we're gonna move over to some more spice. No level 6s in this deck. Of course, you are able to build it how you feel is right to you. But we're gonna skip 6s and go straight to a 7. That is gonna be Death Xmon. Splashing a 1-of Death Xmon feels really, really nice. He has play cost reduction by 3 for every Digimon and Tamer your opponent has in play. It's really, really strong. Sometimes if your opponent is building wide with their Tamers, this will be able to benefit off of that. And just being able to Digivolve 1 off of all of your opponent's Digimon, then delete all of your opponent's Digimon that are level 4 or lower. That is just a strong effect as it is. And on top of that, it has an end of opponent's turn. Once per turn, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. If your opponent can't deal with Death Xmon on the turn, they're going to be able to basically get punished for it, and it's going to be able to delete something with the lowest play cost on their side of the field. It's just a super, super strong card to have in any deck, really. So being able to splash 1-of in Blue Flare feels good. You can use it anytime you need to in certain situations, and it could potentially save you the game. And now we're going to move on to the Tamers. Essential card right here is going to be the Kira. Kira right here is your go-to Tamer, the one you're going to always want to play. If you have 2 memory or less, set your memory to 3. When you would play it, one Digimon with Digicross requirements, you can suspend this Tamer and place Digimon cards under this Tamer as Digivolution cards that are needed for the X Digicross, if that makes sense. So if I have Greymon and Male Birdramon underneath Kira, then I play a Metal Greymon, I can tap and suspend Kira, and I can use those cards that are underneath it, Metal Greymon and Male Birdramon, and put it underneath the Metal Greymon that just played, making him a play cost of 3 in case your opponent has no play cost blockers. So Kira is a really, really good way. So in case your Digimon die, it's kind of like their safe haven before they actually go to the trash. Running a 4-of is very, very important for the reason that there's an option card that lets you play this card for free. And you want to see this card as much as possible, because what you don't really want to do is have your Digimon with Blue Flare on the field die and not being able to go underneath one of these Tamers, because then you are not able to use it for a Digicross source. So he's just good for insurance and making sure you get your Digimon and utilize them to the best potential that you can. Next up, we're going to run 2 Sorenjos. I had this originally at 3, but there's another card that I need for the reason that I have to deal with some sort of matchups. So having 2 of Sorenjo, it's still really, really good when you're able to play it. If your opponent has Digimon with no Digivolution cards, gain 2 memory at the start of your turn, which is really, really good. And you can basically use Sorenjo to get there. Not that many, not as many. You're not going to be in matchups as much with Digimon cards that are using X antibody. Don't get me wrong, yes, you'll still run into them. But with Sorenjo, it'll at least be able to strip off important sources underneath them and kind of make them weaker. And it also complements that Metal Greymon, which has a stun ability up to 3 Digimon that has sources that are equal to his sources or less. And Sorenjo will be able to help get you there too. So if you get hit with a Sorenjo in security, that's even better. It's a really, really good card still. Happy to see it back here in the meta. 2 of feels nice for the Blue Flare. The reason why I don't have 3 of those is because I need this other card for the reason that it is red. Matt and Sora. We're running a 1 of. I would consider maybe upping this to 2, but we'll have to see right now. This is in the playtesting phase still. Having a 1 of Matt and Sora feels nice because if your opponent is doing a lot of drawing, which happens quite a bit, then I'll be able to gain a memory on my turn. And if I have 8 or more, then I'll also be able to gain a memory as well. So I could potentially gain even more memory with this card. Potentially starting, even if just one of us has 8 or more cards, we're going to be getting another memory. And if I have that comboed with Akira, I can start my turn with 4 memory, which is pretty good. And it has a good effect here. When one of your red Digimon or blue Digimon is unsuspended, you can suspend this Tamer to return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to its owner's hand. So this card helps you answer the problems with when they're trying to splash play cost blockers off of you, so you can't reduce the Digicost, so you can't reduce Digicross play cost effects. This card will help you kind of answer that problem there. So having a 1 of Matt and Sora feels nice. It also serves as a red piece, which we're going to be using in this deck. So having a 1 of feels nice there. And those are going to be all of our Tamers for this video. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the option cards used in this one. This shouldn't be too surprising, but we're running 4 of the Blazing Memory Boost. The reason why we run 4 of the Blazing Memory Boost is because it's a freaking insanely strong card for play cost of 5. I know it's a lot of memory. You're passing turn almost all the time with it, but it's so freaking good if you can get this working in the early game. Like as soon as you go turn 1, turn 2, even turn 3, it's really good to get this going. So having a 4 of is essential. And when you play this card, reveal the top 6 cards of your deck. Add 2 cards with blue flare in their traits among them to your hand, and you may play 1 Christopher among them without paying its memory cost. So it combos well with both revealing top 6. That's insane. Getting a top 6 reveal is already good as is. And you get to pick 2 cards with blue flare among those 6. And if you have a Kira in those top 6, you can play it. So what's crazy about this is you can play a Tamer, which costs 4 for free. Then you can add 2 cards with blue flare to your hand, all for a cost of 5, which feels really nice. That's why we run a 4 of. It also has a delay effect of gain 2 memory, so it serves as that memory boost, right? And if you get checked in security, this gets to go to the battlefield and helps you with extending your turn and getting that extra 2 memory in case you need it. Next, we're going to run 1 Ice Wall. 1 Ice Wall, it's just essential. It's going to be in like every blue deck. Anybody that's splashing blue might see an Ice Wall in those. It just has a really good effect when you're all of your opponent's Digimon gain when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of their next turn. So basically there's no way to block that because it's lose 2 memory and not gain 2 memory. The memory blockers can't block this. It has a security effect of gain 2 memory as well, similar to Hammer Spark. That's the only thing that memory blockers can block. If this gets checked in security, they have a Madoki Betamon, this won't be able to gain the 2 memory. But still really effective, and it will punish them if they don't have that in play or if they're not ready for that Ice Wall. Finally, we're going to be running the Crimson Blaze. The only way I can play this card is if I have one of those red Greymons on the field, or if I have that Sora and Joe that are activated. Crimson Blaze is a 6 cost. It reduces its play cost by 1 for each Digimon that my opponent has in play. And then what this does is it deletes all of my opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. Your opponent's Digimon can't play Digimon by effects until the end of their turn. It's a good counter to the Jessmon players, Minerva Loop players, it's Dark Knightmon players. It's got a really good counter to a lot of things there. Even the Ragnar Lordmon players, if there's anybody there. Crimson Blaze is a really strong card. You're going to see this pop up quite a bit in the meta. That's the deck profile for Blue Flare. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and let me know if you guys liked the new style where we showcase some of the cards effects on play as I'm talking about it. Let me know your thoughts on Blue Flare. Let me know your thoughts on the deck profile itself. What would you add? What would you do differently? What do you like? What you don't like? That's always good for discussion for anybody that's considering this deck in the community. So definitely love your feedback. Head over to mojobreakgaming.com if you're looking to buy some Digimon product. We've got product available, and if it's your first time shopping on the site, use the code GAMING for 10% off, and you'll be able to get hooked up there. And you get free shipping if you spend over $100 or more on the shop. So that would be appreciated if you guys go ahead and support us. mojobreakgaming.com. That is the link. Thank you all so much for watching. Joe signing off, and I'll see y'all in the next deck profile. Take care.